to Gamma Chapter's Turtle Trot underneath the umbrella of Iota Phi Lambda Sorority Incorporated. And the purpose of the Turtle Trot is just to help our membership focus on health and wellness. It's our internal health and wellness program. And so it's done in partnership with the national campaign of Good Health Wins. And so I'm going to try to move us forward as swiftly because we've got a hard stop at 7. This is 100% virtual check-in with each of us. And so while I am going through the agenda, I want to allow Sora Denise. How are you tonight?
I'm doing well. I was just telling my daughter we have to do our measurements this weekend because for the last couple of months we have been doing a monthly measurement, right? So we're not focusing our goals just on the way the scale says, but like, are we losing inches? Are we, what are our other numbers? So, sometimes we only measure by weight, but there are other measurements that are helpful too.
Okay, awesome. And that's a good point. That is a very good point to note about measurements and ensuring you know your numbers. And so I'm going to also welcome, we've got another Sora who just logged in, Sora Brogdon. Welcome, welcome. And we have our guest who's just logging in. So good evening, Miss Angel. Are you able to unmute?
Yes, sorry. It wasn't letting me at first.
Okay.
How are you guys?
Good evening. How are you?
Doing well. How are you? Sorry that I'm a little late.
Not a problem. I got your email and appreciate you essentially for being able to be here. And I don't know if you got the chance to kind of take a look at some of the material about our organization, Iota Phi Lambda Sorority Incorporated and Gamma Chapter, and what we're about. But I could tell you a little bit, but before we get into that, just wanted to kind of have the team introduce themselves to you, and you as well to them.
Yeah,
so if
that
you
sounds
if you'd
wonderful.
like to, yeah. So Denise, if you want to kick it off.
Hold on. Hi, good evening. I'm Denise Fillion, and I am the corresponding secretary. I am part of the Turtle Tribe, trying to have some accountability for my goals, but my healthy goals, not necessarily weight loss, but healthy goals. And I'm interested to hear more about nutrition tonight.
Awesome. And then we also have Tangela, who's with us.
Hello. So I am Tangi Brogdon, and I am just here to learn everything that I can. So I'm really open. So
And I am Vanetta Martin. I serve as Gamma Chapter's president. We do have a chapter of 45 active and financial members. But as I mentioned in the email introduction, a part of this core group, it's about 6 to 7 members who are participating, who are professionals and or business owners and want to hold themselves accountable, a little bit like what Denise mentioned, as it relates to their health and wellness. And so being business and professional women, some of them had conflicting appointments that they let me know today. So that's why the group is a bit smaller, but we may have more folks kind of add on to the meeting as we go along. So if you see me dip in and out, that's what I'm doing there. And one last caveat, we are recording only for educational purposes. Are you okay with that?
Or yeah, not? Of course. That's
okay,
totally fine.
Thank you for confirming. And so now, Ms. Angel, I would like you to introduce yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much for having me here today. My name is Carmen Angel, and I work at DC Health. I'm a public health analyst in the Community Health Administration. And the team that I'm on specifically focuses on SNAP, or the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. And we do education around SNAP for program participants, or for anybody that could be eligible for SNAP. So I am not a registered dietitian, but we do have a few on our team. And so I'm happy to, if there are any questions that I can't answer, I'm more than happy to help answer or pass those questions along to anyone. A lot of what we do is really working with low income district residents and partners across the district. And we focus on outreach and communication as well as direct education. So that could look like, working with grantees on a specific program that reaches, district residents that fall within a certain eligibility category. And that's kind of some of the work that we do, and I'm happy to pass along any resources. And then some of what we do is also just educating anybody that is in a position that, is in the community, just educating them around the programs that we have and really trying to provide referrals into those programs. So we work very closely, for example, with the WIC program, or the Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for Women, Infants, and Children. We work very closely with Department of Human Services, or DHS, and they do the SNAP outreach and those benefits. So we just kind of try to work with a lot of different partners, both government agencies and private and nonprofit organizations, to just try to, continue the outreach and share about all the different programs that we have for district residents. And one of the things that we've really been working on, my colleague Lauren Marr, who's not able to make it this evening, has really been working on a federal nutrition programs toolkit. And so what we hear a lot from people is like, you guys have so many great programs, but like, how do I find out more about them? How do I refer people to them? And so we're really working hard as an agency to try to streamline that. We know that, key to healthy living is having access to nutritious foods that meet, the cultural and religious and personal preferences. And so we're really trying to spread the word about the different programs and allow people to kind of have agency and choose which programs they might be interested in, and which ones maybe aren't for them, but they might have a neighbor or a family member that is interested in them. So that's my very long intro to say that I do have some slides from our federal nutrition programs toolkit training that we do, which is kind of just an intro into a lot of the programs that we work on. So I am just gonna open those slides up here really quick, and then I'll share my screen and just kind of run through them. I very much love it when people interrupt me with questions, so don't feel like you need to save your questions for the end. Feel free to raise your hand, unmute, or drop anything in the chat, and I'm happy to answer any questions. This is a very short presentation. It's about 10 minutes. So
that is perfect. And I just wanted to mention, caveat-wise, because we are a part of a national organization and our chapter is DC-based for 93 years now, we've been helping a lot of other community-based organizations, and one of our partners is called Healthy Babies Project. And they're over in Northeast off of Pennsylvania Avenue, Benning Road area. And we've helped them many of times because they are a part of our programming that deals with our internal program is called Iota Mother's Assistance Program. So these are young teenagers who are coming into becoming a new mom. And Healthy Babies Project helps them to understand the resources in DC, and we've kind of coupled with them. So this information is like super important for us and them. So that way we can help these young ladies to really understand the importance of nutrition for not only themselves as new mothers, but for their babies as well. So I'm very excited to see, but my real question after this is, how can we as Gamma chapter of Iota Phi Lambda work to submit a proposal in partnership with Healthy Babies Project for a program about nutrition and wellness for mothers?
Yeah, for sure. I may not have all the answers to that, but can definitely work with my colleagues to kind of give you some answers. We do, though, at DC Health, we constantly have grant opportunities, and I'm happy to forward along where those are posted. The way that the grant process works in the district is you're not allowed to like personally reach out to people and say, hey, this grant opened up, but you can turn on notifications to get notifications and see any grants that are coming in. So I would recommend if you guys are like interested in applying for grants or anything like that, I would really recommend that page, and I'm happy to send you resources on that directly.
That would be great.
I was trying to share my screen here, but it wasn't. Were you guys able to see it when I shared?
Almost. It's coming up. Yes, there it
Okay.
is.
Perfect. Well, today I'm just going to talk about the DC Federal Nutrition Program's toolkit. And we have lots of resources that I can share these slides with you. I can share the flyers and brochures that we have for this as well. So don't feel like you need to like take notes or take screenshots or anything like that. I will share all these resources with you guys.
Right.
So, as you guys are probably very aware, we see diabetes and obesity rates that are pretty high in the district. Overall, when you look at the district as a whole, when you compare us to other states, the rate is actually pretty even with or even less than other states. But what we see is it's really concentrated in certain areas of DC. So specifically, we see really high rates of obesity and diabetes in Ward 7 and 8. And as we know, access to healthy, nutritious foods can really, be a factor and a barrier and lead to chronic conditions like obesity and diabetes. So you can see on the chart on the far right side, that map kind of shows how food insecurity is higher in Ward 7 and 8, and we can actually see that lining up with diabetes and obesity rates. And so the federal nutrition programs are, programs throughout the district that district agencies, as well as nonprofits, work to address these challenges that we face. And the toolkit really came out of trying to make sure that anybody that maybe was struggling with food insecurity or had a chronic condition and was looking for access to certain foods would know where to go and would have access to that information. And so this federal nutrition programs toolkit is really trying to connect residents with federal nutrition programs, and these federal nutrition programs have really shown to support healthier dietary behaviors, leading to better health outcomes. And a lot of that is by making sure that residents have access to healthy foods. And so, as I was just talking about a minute ago, we have lots of different programs here, and we partner with a lot of different agencies to put on these programs. So we've got DACL, or the Department of Aging and Community Living, and they work with a lot of our seniors. I'm part of the DC SNAP Ed team, and we work with a handful of grantees to put on direct education. The DC WIC program works with breastfeeding and pregnant mothers, and then families with kids up to the age of 5. We have the Community Supplemental Food Program, which is works a lot with food banks and seniors throughout the district. SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, TFAP, or the Emergency Food Assistance Program. OSSI does a lot of stuff in the schools, so working with school-aged kids, including the National School Lunch Program. DACL works on the Child and Adult Care Food Program, and then OSSI works on DC Youth Meals Program. And then we have the Department of Human Services that works in the SNAP arena. And so just a quick overview of what the federal nutrition programs are. We have a lot of different federal nutrition programs, and they just offer different types of benefits for different age groups. And this could look like money for groceries, or it could actually look like providing a balanced meal. So there's a lot of variety with these programs. These federal nutrition programs are administered by the USDA and the Administration for Community Living. And then that money goes to district government agencies, and then we work with local organizations to run these programs. We also have some local nutrition programs that I'm happy to talk more about if you guys are interested. You might be familiar with like the Healthy Corner Store program that DC Central Kitchen has. Martha's Table has their Joyful Food Market. So there's a lot of different local programs as well, but this is kind of specifically focusing on those federal programs. And the toolkit was really created to help people find information and resources on food assistance programs in DC. And really, there are two main goals, both helping people navigate those programs to try to reduce barriers as much as possible, to provide that support for living healthy lives, including healthy diets. And then the second goal is really to try to be a supportive resource to increase enrollment into these programs. We know that these programs are effective in reducing food insecurity, and so really reducing those barriers, providing those resources to make sure that we can increase enrollment into those effective programs. So the toolkit used to be kind of this big, long document that was like 25 pages long, and it was super comprehensive, had all this information, and we found it very helpful from like a government perspective and an agency perspective, but it was kind of a barrier for participants because it's a lot of information to try to sort through and figure out, okay, am I eligible for this program? You know, am I interested in this program? Is it going to provide me with what I need? And so my colleague Lauren Marr has worked on creating brochures that group the different programs by age groups and we provide them in multiple language, so English, Spanish, French, Amharic, Chinese, Korean, and Vietnamese. And we have them available in both digital and paper formats. And then she also created a digital estimator tool, and that tool helps to connect residents with programs that are relevant to them through a very short quiz. Or not, I shouldn't call it quiz, but kind of like questionnaire. And so these are the brochures. So we've got them in different age groups. Like I said, I can provide all of these brochures to you guys. I can provide that box folder so you guys are able to access them and print them out. If you need help with printing them, just let us know. We're happy to print some out and get them to you. So this is kind of what the brochures look like on the outside. You can see that they're really broken down by age groups because that's kind of how the federal programs work. And then the inside just has kind of some general information. It talks about the purpose of the toolkit, which we've talked about today. It kind of gives an overview of how to use the toolkit. And then there's that QR code to the eligibility estimator, which I'll show you here in just a moment if you'd like me to. And then on the inside of the brochure is kind of all the programs that, you know, in this example, it's children between the ages of 2 and 5 are eligible for based on their age. So there are still other eligibility requirements that have to be met, but it just kind of provides an overview of each of the programs, more contact information, and how eligibility is determined for each program. And so from those toolkits, you know, they did some extensive focus groups, and residents still kind of said, this is really helpful, but how do I know what I'm eligible for and what I'm not eligible for? And so my colleague created a 10-question survey that helps residents determine what programs they could be eligible for, and also provides a link to those program websites so they can easily click, learn more information, complete the application, or know where to call to complete that application. We do want to note that's not the final decision. So when they complete the survey, it's not sending off an application to all of those programs, but it's just a good way to kind of understand what programs someone may be eligible for. And it's been user tested internally, and we've worked with a lot of our partners to kind of make sure that everything is accurate and correct within that estimator tool. The estimator tool can be, oh, yep. Did I hear something?
Yes, I had a question. So
Yeah.
how do you all, in my introduction for the request for you to be here, I had mentioned seeing a presentation online, YouTube, where it talked about farmers markets. How do you all incorporate like DC farmers markets into these programs? Are they kind of connected? Do you all do that aspect as well?
Yeah, we do. We actually have three different farmers market programs, and two of them are federal, and one of them is a local program. So the federal program is, or the two federal programs are the WIC and Senior Farmers Market Nutrition programs. And so when I was showing the different partners that we have, oh, I guess we don't have their logo on here. But Capital Area Food Bank and Fresh Farm administer the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program, and that program provides seniors that are in the Grocery Plus program, which is the commodity supplemental food program. We just call it Grocery Plus locally, with $50 that they can spend at farmers markets on fresh fruits, vegetables, cut herbs, and honey from June through November. And then WIC is kind of the same type of thing, but it's for, WIC participants specifically. And then we also have a local program that kind of covers everybody else and is also inclusive of WIC and seniors. And that program is called Produce Plus. And that program is for anybody over the age of 16 that's a district resident, and they receive $40 each month to spend at farmers markets on fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, and cut herbs. And all those programs run from June 1st through November 30th. So we don't include them in here because these programs, the federal nutrition programs, are kind of year-round programs. But I do want to plug, we do an annual training. We offer it a couple times throughout, kind of in the run up to farmers market season. And it kind of covers some of these federal programs, and then it really dives into our farmers market programs. So if you guys are interested in learning more about those programs, I would really recommend attending one of those trainings, or if the times don't work for you, we're always happy to come and do the training. We thought about giving it tonight, but it's a bit of a longer training. It takes more like an hour, hour and a half. And so we didn't want to take the whole meeting.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Denise, did you have a question or
was saying
feedback?
that, yeah, feedback. Actually, I was gonna say that I am in love with these brochures. As somebody who works with SNAP, right? What's missing in New York City is this component of breaking it down into like groups, because I think we have like all of these different programs that someone can go to, but nowhere to connect them into one place, right? And so people become information overload and they don't go anywhere. And it seems like you guys have like this missing component with it, which is the education piece, right? Where for us it's like, here's your money, it can provide groceries to you, so you're no longer the insecure realm. But sometimes it doesn't go as far, but there's no education around how to spend that money, how to use what's nutritious meals. So going to the corner and just getting a hero for each one of your children is not the best thing to do. It's like, how do I create meals that are healthy, that we all can eat together? And because we're trying to combat other health issues too, like diabetes and such. So, I do love this and how it's broken down into different age groups, and who needs to use what.
Yeah, and one thing that I'll say that like we're really trying to work on, because we see the same thing here in DC, right? Like we on the SNAP Ed side are like making a lot of resources, trying to provide a lot of education, but then it's like the SNAP like is administered by a separate, agency within the government. And so we actually just released our RFA, or request for application for the SNAP Ed for the next 5 years. Our grants are kind of coming up, and we really tried to ensure that there's like a referral pathway. So when you receive SNAP, now here are the resources to make sure you can attend a SNAP Ed course, or here are the resources to healthy meals and all of that stuff. So I am not the expert on that side of things. I kind of do a built environment type work. But if you want to know more information, feel free to reach out to me and I'll be happy to connect you with my colleague Lauren Marr, and my supervisor Joanne Jolly, and they both do a lot of work on that referral pathways stuff.
That'll be perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
We do have another team member who just joined us, but you can continue. We appreciate
All right. All right, so we were just talking a little bit about the digital estimator tool, and this tool, just as a reminder, is to try to help participants kind of understand which programs they may be eligible for. It's not the final decision, but it just kind of narrows down the programs that they can look into, if they're interested in learning more about federal programs. And so if we have time and if you guys are interested in seeing it, I'm happy to kind of show you guys what the digital estimator looks like. This is specific to DC programs, but because these are federal programs, this could really be replicated no matter, what state that you're in.
I am interested in seeing it, but I do want to offer to my membership if they had any questions. I do have one additional question, but Tangi, did you have a question or feedback about the information we received so far? And I know Janitra, you just logged in. We'll get you caught up.
Okay,
No,
thank you.
great information. Perfect. I'm good.
Okay, awesome. So, Carmen, the question I had is, what if we already know our members, individual members, our constituents who we serve, they apply to this tool, but what if we don't necessarily apply to this tool? Do you all have like a list of farmers markets that we could go to just to spend our money and buy produce so that way we can go home and cook and have a healthy meal? And are there supplemental tools that which you've shown by those broken down ages for people who are like us, we're business and professional women again, who want to try to really be intentional about how we're living our lives, how we're cooking our food for ourselves and our families? And does your agency have that type of information?
Yeah, for sure. So, like I said, I am not a registered dietitian, but in DC specifically, those farmers market programs that we have, we put together like a map essentially, that has all the farmers markets that accept benefits. So it's specifically for program participants, but like if I'm going to go to a farmer's market, this is the resource that I also use because I'm like, these are great markets. And so I will actually drop that in the chat for you guys. I will note that this is last year's guide. We haven't published the one for 2024 yet, but what I'm going to do is kind of drop the link to the page. Let me just share my screen here and show you guys kind of what it looks like. So this page right here is like kind of has a lot of our information for farmers market programs. So the WIC and senior program that I briefly mentioned, but if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, you can see our market guide as well as our interactive map. And so this market guide has all the farmers markets. It has them by ward in DC. It has the locations, the times. A lot of the markets will have like social media, so you can see if there's weather or something, you can see if it's open or closed. So this is a really great resource. And then I would also recommend this interactive map. We work with the DC Office of Planning, and you can actually type in your address. So for example, our headquarters are at 2201 Shannon Place Southeast. And so it will drop a pin and you can actually zoom out. And it'll tell you like farmers markets that are near you, and it'll give you the days and times and hours. So this is really helpful if you're like not familiar with markets that are near you at all. This is a great place to just kind of go and say, oh, like what's a market that's near me? When is it open? So these are both really great resources. And I'm going to drop this link into the chat for you guys.
Thank you. That is perfect.
And then I also want to show you guys, Fresh Farm is an organization that we work with very closely. They have a food access, a lot of food access programs, but they also just run a lot of markets. And they also do a lot of recipes and stuff like that. And so they have incredible, in their food education, they have incredible recipes. And they kind of have it broken down by categories. And so this is where I always go if I'm looking to shake it up and looking for some new recipes. This is a great place to
Thank
kind of take
you.
a look.
This is perfect.
I
Team,
think
what do you think? I love it.
Love it.
Yeah. I actually I thought of a question, and forgive me if you've already shared this, but if we have um, community members that may qualify for your senior programs, but may not have access to cars, do you all do any kind of produce drop-offs or pickups or anything like that?
Yeah, so we have a couple of different delivery options. I know you said seniors, but I also just want to mention the WIC families. We have a delivery for the WIC Farmers Market Nutrition Program. We also have a lot of the programs that are specifically for seniors, like the Grocery Plus program or Commodity Supplemental Food program, they do a home delivery or door-to-door option because there are seniors that aren't able, whether it's a health condition or they don't have an aid or that type of thing, they're just not able to get out in the community. And so they have a home delivery and door-to-door component of their program. And then the Produce Plus program, which is the farmers market program, the $40 each month in the summer months. For that program, they also have a home delivery program too. So a lot of the programs are really starting to incorporate these home delivery aspects. A lot of it came during COVID, and then people were like, wait, this is exactly what we need. It reduces a lot of transportation barriers, time barriers, just a lot of different barriers. And so a lot of them have kept up with the home delivery aspects of their programs.
Excellent question, Tangi. Excellent. Thank you for that. Awesome. Are there any other questions for Ms. Carmen? Okay. Well, Ms. Carmen, I want to thank you so much for being here and giving us this information as a service organization with a focus of business and professional development, but also enlightening us from a personal perspective of resources for nutrition and health for our own selves. Because as I have an adage, you are what you eat, and you can't help anybody else if you're not healthy yourself. And so that's what we're trying to get better at, being healthy and being more mindful of our wellness. So I truly appreciate you and DC government's Department of Health for stopping by tonight. We will
Yeah.
keep in touch with you. So
That sounds great. Yeah, I was just gonna say, if you guys have any follow-up questions or if there are any specific resources that I, showed you guys tonight that you would like copies of, feel free to let me know. I'm happy to send those along. If you want to be connected to anybody within DC Health, happy to do that as well. So thank you for having me tonight.